Let's turn our attention now to security matters, where the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, has revealed that bank accounts of some wardens across correctional centers are used by jailed Boko Haram members to plan and execute criminal operations. He spoke at the House of Representatives' maiden sectoral debate for service chiefs and the Inspector General of Police. General Christopher Musa also sought the support of the National Assembly towards overcoming challenges confronting the fight against crimes and criminality. The security chief said the loot from such operations are shared evenly by the wardens and the Boko Haram members.
The issue of correctional facilities. In the Northeast, when we got the, when we were debriefing some of the arrested Boko Haram elements, so they were telling us how from the prisons they could plan operations out in the field. From the prisons, they plan operations. They pass funds across, and we said how. They use some of the warders from there. We don't say all of them are bad, but they use some of them. They use their accounts to transfer money. And the deal is anybody's account who money is transferred to, they share 50-50. Those are the areas, those are the challenges we're having. And if you look at where we have the correctional facilities, they've all been occupied now. The Kuje facility, you have a school sharing wall with the prison yard. In Ibadan, the marketplace is where Agodi is where you pass to go to. So I think we need to really look at this critically for us to have good control in these areas.
Well, I understand that we have the Executive Director, Global Peace and Life Rescue Initiative, Melvin Eje, back with us. He joins us from Jos Plateau State to discuss the revelations by the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, yesterday at the Senate. It's good to have you join us. Hopefully we can hear you better now. Earlier I was asking that before we talk about the ingenious ways that Boko Haram members have adopted to perpetrating their crime, talk to us about what you think about how the Nigerian government and how security operatives are fighting insecurity in Nigeria.
Let me first and foremost commend the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, for his resilience in tackling the security issue in the country. And I will go, in the next 1 year, the insecurity is going down by the day. Even though the naysayers have refused to see this, but it's actually going down. Our security agencies are doing a lot. And let's come to the issue of the CDSS today. I want to commend the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, for his dexterity, for his ruggedity, and for his bluntness in coming out in putting the issues as they are. I agree with him totally that some of these correctional centers are part of the problem Nigeria is having. You won't believe what goes on in Nigerian prison centers. You won't believe what's going on in the prison. A lot of these correctional centers are complicit. A lot of them have aided criminals. A lot of them have helped criminals in destroying this country. Most of the mega crimes in Nigeria today are carried out from prison by these terrorists. If you take a raid and an unexpected raid on our correctional centers across the country, you'll be shocked the kind of materials you're going to see there. You'll be shocked the kind of gadgets you're going to see right inside our prison. So I think instead of just sitting down somewhere and blaming just the armed forces, while we must admit that the armed forces have some of their flaws, the armed forces have some of the bad things among them, but we should look at this issue from the holistic angle. Everybody needs to get to work. The correctional center, the immigration, the customs, everybody needs to get to work to ensure that our security sector work. So far, so good. In the last 1 year, our security agencies, from June, July, I think till date, they have been taking this battle to these terrorists wherever they are. And I think Nigerians must rise up to continue to support them.
Although there have been questions about how the military has been tackling insecurity in the last 1 year also, some persons would say that Boko Haram members are morphing into what we call bandits. Is that your perspective?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the Northeast is so hot for them now. From the current Chief of Defense Staff was in the Northeast, he made it so hot for them. And as it stands today, the CDS, it's taking the fight to these terrorists. If you look at how they have metamorphosed into bandits, they have moved to communities, they have moved to where we have soft target across the country. So I think that's very correct. But from what is happening so far, the current crop of service chiefs are taking this battle to them. What we used to have before, I'm sorry with due respect to all the service chiefs, they have done their part. But what we have before, we have never had this deliberate, where Our service chiefs take this battle to them, both the air, the land, the sea, and water. And that's the only way we can get it right. We don't have to wait until these bandits attack Nigeria. We don't have to wait until they raid our communities. We must take this fight to them, and that's what we should continue doing. I think the armed forces are getting it right. All they need from us now is to boost their morale, is to ensure that their welfare is carried along. Imagine the welfare of an average soldier. The average private soldier takes less than 50,000 naira, for crying out loud. Even the security man in my house and the gardener does not take their allowances, does not take that kind of salary. How do you expect someone who sleeps in the rain, someone who sleeps in the sun, someone who risks his life fighting for this country to take that kind of salary? I think it's unacceptable. So I think the Nigerians need to go out, do more to ensure that these people do their work well.
Just in line with what you just said, the general also highlighted this particular issue about the fact that the armed forces are underfunded. He also, of course, highlighted the fact that the materials, that's the equipment they use, is been imported, and the fact that the high rate of dollar has its own impact on what they get, that's on the funds they get from the federal government. Any suggestions about how we can find alternatives, that's the military now, can find alternatives to the equipment they have to ship from abroad?
I think the only alternative for me is that the federal government will be deliberate about security. The federal government must invest in security as they are doing now. I trust the ability of the current president. I trust him. I know that he's someone who means whatever he says. So I'm sure he's going to fund our security agency. No matter how expensive the dollar is, no matter how hard it is, they must prioritize our security. They must instruct the Minister of Finance to make sure their budget their funds are released as soon as possible. There's no point keeping the fund of our armed forces, because once there is no security in the country, every development you intend to do will fail. So my appeal to the Mr. President and everybody in government is that we must prioritize our security. We must prioritize our welfare. The salary the take-home salary of an average security man, of a soldier, of a Navy man and an Air Force man is so poor. It's so poor and it's unacceptable. So I think one of the alternatives I suggest is that the federal government, the presidency, and everybody in charge must prioritize their welfare, must prioritize the release of funds to them so that they do their work effectively.
Executive Director, Global Peace and Life Rescue Initiative, Melvin Eja, thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure.